Nate the Great and the Monster Mash. Chapter 1. Dracula's Frankenstein and Werewolves. My name is Nate the Great. I am a detective. My dog Sarge is a detective too. Today, Sarge and I had a big plan to do nothing. Suddenly, I saw something. There was a note under the door of my room. It was written in the scribble. I knew it was from my mother. She scribbled when she is in a hurry. I read it. Dear Nate the Great, I love my recipe for monster cookie. It's on a long piece of paper. I looked inside the house. Now I must look outside. When I found the paper, I will be back. Love, your mother. I love those monsters. I said to Sludge. Strawberry Dracula's, chocolate Frankenstein, cinnamon werewolf. My mother hates the werewolf, but she bangs them for me anyway. I must finish. I must find that recipe. I need and never solve a case for my mother. My mother knew where everything was until now. We will look inside, I said. Perhaps my mother did not look everywhere in the house. I need like this case. I could stay home. I would not have to see Rosamond or her 4 cats. Would not have to see any dog fang. I could make as many pancakes as I wanted. Chapter 2. The long and short of it. Sarge and I went to the kitchen. My mother kept her recipe there. Each short recipe was written on one side of a card. Each long recipe was written on one side of a long piece of paper. The cards were in one pile. The paper were in another. My mother liked the cards. They were all neat and clean. She did not like the paper. They were wrinkled, and stained with food. The pile of paper was a mess, and it was huge. But I, had to look for monster cookies. The recipe should be easy to find. I said to Sarge, "It's the only one with a drawing of werewolf." Dozens and dozens of werewolves all crossed it out. My mother has never seen a werewolf she liked. I spread every shade on the floor. I found recipe for food I have never eaten and would never wanted to eat, like a squashy slush. I found a great name like chocolate bomb and pecan plop. I found scribble name that I had never heard of, like Levan. There was nothing listened under that one, and fig fiddle. Nothing was listened under that either. There were no more pages with scribble name. Maybe the recipe would be added later. I could not find monster cookies. Chapter 3. One big mess. It was time to think. I made some pancakes. I gave Sarge a bone. We ate and thought. I knew that my mother had not made monster cookies for a week. Today, she discovered that the recipe was gone. so the recipe might have been missing for a week, or less than a week. I turned to Sludge. We will look in the every nook and cranny of this house. Look hard. It's for my mother. Sludge and I looked sniff. I climbed up, bent down, knocking this over, pulling things out, pushing things around. We crumble stop. We jumble stop. Nothing. Dory says there is a big clue missing in this clue case. The clue is my mother. We have to find her and ask her questions. So then I walked toward the front door. Ouch! We stumbled over the mess we had made. We will clean this up when we get back, I said. Chapter 4. Tasty in lemon. We went outside to think about where my mother would go, I said. So they sat down. No, don't sit and think. Walk and think, I said. Suddenly, I knew I saw had sat down. Fang was up ahead with Annie. I went up to Annie. I am looking for my mother, I said, or her recipe for monster cookies. Have you seen either one? I saw your mother 3 days ago, Annie said. She said hello. Then she looked at Fang. She kept staring at him. Then she took a long piece of paper out of her pocketbook and wrote something down. She said that Fang would be tasty in lemon. What did that mean? You wouldn't want to know, I said. Chapter 5. The Best Follow. So then I walk on. Maybe my mother is adding Fang to her list for tasty monster, I said. I can hardly wait to eat him. But that does not help us find my mother. Saji turned it around. Where were you going? I asked. Saji led the way to Oliver's house. Oliver lived next door. Oliver is a pest. Oliver follows people. Oliver follows animals. Oliver follows the world. Oliver was in his yard. Oliver, I said, did you follow my mother today? Your mother ran out today. Oliver said, Oh, funny, I missed her. Your mother is a great fellow. She goes to good places, like the fish store. Oliver collects eels. He likes anything fishy. Oliver, I said, did you follow my mother this week? Yes, 3 days ago. It was my favorite follow of the month. Where did she go? Oliver looked poured. He opened a box. He took out a card. I knew who I followed, and when I followed them, and where they go, he said. I have a card for everybody. Let's see. Meet the Grace Mother. To Thursday, 2 p.m. She spoke to Annie. She looked at Fang. She took a long piece of paper out of her pocketbook. She scribbled something on it. It was probably her grocery list. She went to the supermarket next. She looked at the paper. Then she took a jar of cinnamon from a shelf. She started at the jar. She put it back. She bought chocolate, strawberry, and lemon. Lemon? I said. Was she really going to make a lemon pan cookies? What happened next? I asked. She went to the fish store, Oliver said. She took a more long paper from her pocketbook. Look at them and bought a lot of fish. Aha! I am more long paper they could. They could not be grocery list. They must have been a recipe at the fish store for fish dishes at the supermarket. For monster cookie. What did she do next? I don't know, Oliver said. I had to go home and feed my eel. I must go to the fish store. I said. I must follow you, Oliver said. I knew it. Chapter 3. Something fishy. Sarge and I walked to the fish store. Oliver followed us. Rosamond and her 4 cats were there. Rosamond was buying tuna. Here, she said to the man behind the counter. It's some paper to warp. Some paper to warp my tuna in. You warped my fish in it 2 months ago, but the other side hasn't been used. Just turn the paper over and use it the other side. The paper was stained, rumble and crumble, and smelly. The man made a face, but he wrapped the tuna in the paper. I recycled everything, Rosamond said, but fish paper is the best. I was disgusted to hear that. I ran up to Rosamond. I did not want to do that. Have you seen my mother or her recipe for monster cookies? I asked. Rosamond looked mad. I saw your mother a few minutes ago. She asked me if I had seen her recipe. Now, you're asking me questions. You always ask me questions. From now on, I will charge you for my answer. Rosamond was staring, strange. Now I had to be even stranger. Well, from now on, I will charge you for my question, I said. Rosamond shivered. Okay, no charge, she said. The answer is that I had not seen your mother's recipe, and I don't know where she went after I saw her. For that you wanted money? I said. Rosamond hugged her tuna package. Well, when I answered your question, I have to think hard. I have to breathe harder. My toes tingle. My cats got hungry. It was time to leave. Such Oliver and I went outside. Oliver took out a card and scribbled something on it. It was just the way my mother scribbled her short recipe on her card. Serge sniffed the card. Was he thinking what I was thinking? Chapter 7. Cross it out the werewolves. Serge and I rushed home. We have solved the case, I said. I opened the front door. We tripped. We'll clean up soon, I said. But first, we have to use our clues. We knew that my mother had the recipe when she went to the supermarket 3 days ago. She almost bought the cinnamon there, but she didn't. My mother really hates cinnamon werewolves, so she must have decided not to bank them anymore. And that meant she didn't need all those crossed-out werewolves. I need to say that without them, the monster cookies recipe was short enough to write on a card. So when my mother got home, she copied the recipe from the piece of paper onto a card. She threw out the paper. Then she forgot that the recipe is now on a card. I went to the pile of cards. I tumbled thought that fast. I knew I would find the monster cookies. Such wagged his tail. He knew it too. I looked once, I looked twice, I looked 3 times. So just stopped wagging. The recipe is not on a card, I said. I should have known that my mother knows. Where was she looking for? A long piece of paper. I opened a cupboard. There was plenty of cinnamon. My werewolves were safe. We have to keep looking for my mother, I said. Chapter 8. The right place. Serge and I rushed to the door. Thump! Bump! Thump! We fell down. We will clean up this place soon, I said. Serge was tired of hearing that. We sat there. It's hard work being a detective, I said. I have to think about what I am looking for and who I am working for. I am working for my mother. I know that she does not lose things. She puts things in the right place. The right place for that recipe was with the other paper. She must have put it there 3 days ago. So why wasn't it there? So didn't know. Neither did I. What was so important in this case? What is important? That my mother had scribbled something on a long piece of paper. After she saw Fang, was it important that she bought chocolate, strawberry, and lemon, and lots of fish? Fish could not have anything to do with monster cookies. Still, there was a clue at the fish store. I later felt it in my bones and on my nose. It had something to do with rosamine fish paper. Chapter 9. A Scribble Among Scribbles. Get up, I said to Slot. We have the clue we need. Fish paper, that lemon. So I made our way back to the kitchen. I looked at the paper I spread over the floor. I found the shed that had a lavender scribble on it. The paper was stained, wrinkled, just like rosemary fish paper, because it had already been used on the other side. To make cookies, I turned the paper. I knew what I knew I would read. the cookies! There it was, how to make a strawberry Dracula's chocolate Frankenstein and a kingdom of the werewolf. This case is solved, I said. Here is what happened. My mother had some recipe with her when she was so annoyed and faint. She scribbled a note to buy lemon. On the back of the monster cookies recipe, lemon short for lemon fan cookies. After the shopping and came home, she put the recipe back on the pile, but because she had a scribble on the back of the monster cookie recipe, it was turned down instead of up. The next people of the day, my mother used the other recipe from the pile because very messy. Today my mother was all ready to make the cookies. She went to the pile. She was in a hurry. She told me that lots of the recipe and the scribble, like lemon. I scribbled among the scribble. My mother passed it by, just the way I did. If the paper had been blank, we would have known it was the wrong side. I need to say that in this case, nothing would have been better than something. I heard the front door open, crunched the monster cookie recipe. I had a big surprise to show my mother. I heard the scream. Ah! I was glad that I did not heard a thump or a bump or a thump. Such looked scared. I knew that I had one more surprise for my mother than I wanted. Such and I were very busy for the rest of the day. The end.